Oh, welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. Schlegs, and a big show for us this week. Big show this week in general. I mean, we had Carson on, we had CJ on, Bill Bender. Yesterday we had Ryan Day. Hoping to have Eddrick Houston on today. We'll see how that ends up panning out. Former defensive end.
Come on, Eddrick with 2 Ds. Let's go.
Turn defensive tackle. So that's it's pretty exciting for us, potentially having him on as well. And just I love having guys on talking about their journeys, talking about how they got here, Schlegs, where they came from, what it's been like, especially when you go through position changes and everything else. There's always just so much there that's always intriguing for you. And it's Friday, man. So it's always going to be great as you're running into the weekend. This is the last week to coaches, as we talked a little bit with Ryan yesterday. They're going to be reporting tomorrow. And players have next week, and then they get a couple of days off, and then they're going to be reporting. And their first couple of days of practice will be open to the public, I believe, July 31st, August 1st, and then maybe into the weekend as well with that. I'm going to try to get over there, and I'll definitely be there for the first two, and then try to get over there after that as well and see what's going on. But, Schlegs, as you go into this season, we glean, like we're going to had CJ on, trying to obviously get Eddrick here, but looking at this Ohio State defensive line and trying to figure out, like, everybody said that that's kind of the potentially weak spot, just with depth, okay, especially on the interior, because you look at what they were able to do defensively on the outside. You got Kenyatta Jackson coming back. You got Caden Curry coming back. They've played a lot. Bo Atkinson comes in from North Carolina. CJ Hicks, who we just had on the show, moves down to edge. You brought in Logan George from out west. I believe he was from Idaho, if I'm not mistaken, Schlegs, or Idaho State, one of the two as well. We got a couple of young guys.
He's from Idaho.
That are really good that you think can potentially maybe help. Like we talked, CJ Hicks was talking about Zion Grady and how good he was and what he could potentially bring to the table. But he's a true freshman, and there's just a lot of depth at that defensive end position. Interior of the D-line, Caden McDonald, Eddrick Houston, Eddrick moving down to play more 3 technique, Caden being the nose. But then after that, it's kind of unproven. Even Eddrick, like he played some last year, and he moved to defensive tackle last year, during his freshman season. But there's still a lot of unknown, a lot of after that, and trying to figure out how that's going to look is going to be, a huge challenge for this Buckeye team, I think, of developing some depth there and what those guys are, and trying to figure out how deep that rotation can be, because that's the one position, Schlegs, you need to have probably 8 warm bodies to be able to have success, and especially on the inside.
Well, I'm going to say this. I mean, you're right. When you lose 2 guys that have played a lot of ball in the TNT boys, both first-round draft pick, fifth-round draft pick, you're going to have some questions. They played a lot of ball. And what did Larry Johnson do this last year? Everybody's like, hey, you got to rotate your guys more. And he did. And Eddrick and K-Mac got meaningful reps during the season. The thing is, what is Tyrone Malone going to do? What is Will Smith going to do? Jason Moore, right? Carter, like those guys inside. Here's the other thing. What does the front actually look like? That's another question. It's not to your detriment if you do run a 3-4 sometimes, and how you line up in that 3-4. If you have an abundance of dudes on the perimeter and they've got some guys that can do certain things and you got a lot of depth at linebacker, let's go back to our senior season, Bob, and I think you alluded to this. People don't realize this. We really basically ran a 3-3-5 when you think about what it was.
Yeah.
And we ran that 80% of the time. And I was explaining this 7th grade football, mind you.
Oh, boy.
But we were just talking about zone coverage and principles and alignment, assignment, alerts, and adjustments. And we were just talking shop, not to the kids, to the coaches. And we basically still ran an under front, but we just used Dante as like our Sam linebacker.
Yeah, overhang. Yeah, overhang Sam.
What's that?
Yeah, the overhang Sam, just hanging out there, 100%. Usually to the field side.
And you were phenomenal at it. And as a 9 technique, as a true Sam and an under front, that's my favorite. Like it's 5 and 2. Like that's my best when you have an outside backer like you were and what you could do. Blitzing off the edge, being able to cover the flat, being able to set the edge, You knew where the bubble was and the weaknesses of the defense. So here's what I feel good right now. They're unproven, yes, but I feel good because of what they did last year. I feel good because of the development that I've heard from the weight room and the staff. Because sometimes when you're not necessarily that guy all the time, and now you are that guy, it's that leadership. It's taking that next step, not only physically but mentally. And then also you have a guy that in the NFL, in Matt Patricia, you have to do the best with what you're given from the GM. And if you have an abundance of guys, it can't just be scheme, scheme, scheme all the time. It has to be scheme and also fits that allow my best players, my best 11, to be on the field to give me the best opportunity I can to have a successful defense. And that's why I love the hire of Matt Patricia, because it's not about a scheme thing, it's a player thing. And I think that he's going to be able to put them all in the right position. Eddrick, who's hopping on the show potentially, we'll talk. And I love training Eddrick when I first got him. I think he's up to roughly like 295. You know, he's put on like came in as a defensive end. And just so you guys know, it's not necessarily about just getting bona fide D tackles. Like when you're evaluating people that play defensive end, are they a 3 technique? Like, can they grow into that body type? And over 2 years of coming in at like 270, right? And now he's a true sophomore. So basically, like,
is that you or him they're talking about? 270.
No. Me, hey, the secret sauce is easy, guys. Buffalo wings, ranch, and Bud Heavies. Period. I mean, I could put
What
all
about the Oreos? Where do the Oreos fit in?
Oreos fit in as a man. I really had a hard day's work.
Culture rep late at night.
Those are culture reps. And hey, side nugget.
By the way, hey, did you like that I dropped in with Ryan? I asked about the quarterback. I'll get you warmed up for next week. You know, he laughs like, hey, every rep's a game rep. You know, like let's get
every rep. And it was good. And what a great interview that was, and humbled that he came on it. And also is a testament to you, Bob, because you give your time and go over there and do a lot of things with them. But that, I mean, I feel I'm fine. And here's the other thing too, like Arch Manning, he's a lot more mobile quarterback than Quinn Ewers was at Texas. Like the structure could be the same, but being able to keep him in the pocket, what does their run game look like this year coming in? Like, are we going to be able to stop it with a 3-4 or 3-3-5, whatever that looks like? That's what you're going to do. I mean, hell, I remember playing Iowa and we're running the same front, but we're running nickel because they had a really good tight end that could spread the field. But Dante was over him, and I remember Dante. Remember this, Bob? Like he shocked and shedded this dude.
Oh yeah,
and just maintained the edge. And like Dante was like 5'9", pit bull. And I'm like, but that's what it is. It's about putting the best dudes in the best positions to go make plays and trusting them. But I feel good. I like what K-Mac brings as a nose.
He's girthy,
like
thick.
Eddrick does.
Like he was doing shoulder presses with 100-pound plates, or shoulder raises, just up the front, just crushing it.
Front raises with 100 pounds, guys. I mean, I'll try to stack 2 plates together and do 90, and I can do that. Sitting is a different animal. And he's
can't swing, can't cheat.
Can't cheat, man. But anyways, I'm excited about what I'm going to – I say I'm excited. I'm not even concerned. I'm just excited to see because I know they have Larry Johnson. I know they have Matt Patricia. I know that they're going to get coached up and developed. The bigger thing is I'm expecting great things from K-Mac and Eddrick. It's going to be who's going to be the 3 or the 4 or the 5. That's kind of the question. And you got to get him in. You got to get him often. And I would say
you had talked about it. Like the question is some of those young guys, because I think Eddrick is he's going to be a really good 3. I think he's going to get to be like after 2 years in here, like by his junior year, if he's, senior 4-year guy, he's going to be really stinking good.
He could be a bona fide, and like his frame is he's long limb, long arm, skinny calves like me. We should have a torso,
like thick torso. Like he's put together well. But when he got here, I was like, dude, you're not playing DN. Like I could tell that right now. Like, dude, you're like 265 as a 18-year-old. Like you want to be 290. You can be explosive. Like who do you rush? Would you rather rush on, Paris Johnson, or would you rather rush on some stiff guard? Like give your athleticism a chance in there. So Eddrick, I think, is good. And you got to remember him and Caden too. They were both in that Penn State 4th on the goal line stand against Penn State. So like those guys, they can do it. They can do it. But it's really, you mentioned Tywan Malone, Will Smith Jr., Jason Moore. Like at least one, if not 2 of those guys has to step up in a big way to be able to kind of handle handle some of that, because you don't want to have to rely on freshmen to be able to come in there and play. Now, there is one other element, and someone threw this out in the chat, and if you want to throw this up there, I know it's not even tailgate talk, and we're right off Jump Street here as we're going through this, but it was mentioned. Oh goodness, where was that at? By Terry Slusher, that Bo Atkinson played some in the middle at North Carolina, so he's versatile. And so this is one of the things that Matt Patricia brings to the table. I could see a scenario where, in order to kind of save your defensive line a little bit, if you can't develop that deep rotation, what you're able to do is you have Eddrick at like a 3 technique, and you can kind of play a 3-4 look where, you could have CJ or Kenyatta, and Kenyatta is almost even big enough to kind of play inside, but you could have that 3-4 look and feel where you have Kenyatta inside or Bo inside, Caden at the nose, Eddrick at the other inside spot. You could put CJ Hicks out wide. You can put Caden Curry out wide. Heck, you can walk down Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, who played some D-line his freshman year. And so that gives you some of that versatility, Schlegs, where I think you can play more like of a 3D line look, and then like CJ can kind of be that edge guy, or Caden, because they're like little more tweener body types edge guys anyway. And so that gives you some of that versatility. And here's the thing, like, I love Jim Knowles and what he was able to do, but Matt Patricia, Schlegs, what he brings to the table and how he runs that defense is going to be a lot more multiple. And so they're going to lean into what some of those guys can do a little bit better. And so that should help fortify that defensive line position, I think, just through some of the versatility and some of the 3 down and the 4 down and just how it's going to look.
Hey, we forget this. You and I don't, but I think some people do. What is the fundamental premise of a D line, of the front 7 of the defense? And you learned it playing in a Parcells system, right? A 3-4 Bob. I learned it playing with Mangenius. I learned it from watching Vrabes and watching cut-ups of Teddy Bruschi and Ted Johnson, and also watching them and Vrabes smoke a bunch of marbles and play euchre and play golf, and then come run 32 110s and give us his clothes. That was amazing, by the way. It's called building the wall.
Yeah.
And you can build the wall. You can line. Here's the thing. You can line up however you want to line up. And you can slant, right? Offense has competitive advantage, man. They try to make you communicate. They know where the ball is going. They know kind of how the defense lines up. But when you explain the why, and you can have a defense playing really fast, and you can have even some smaller guys that are tough and physical, like a Caden Curry, Bo, right? Those guys that have done that kind of a little bit. You can slant and bring them from wherever you want. That does what? Keeps the ball bouncing outside of really athletic, freaky dudes. So it's about how you attack downhill. And again, defensively, I know that I got my nose going to the A, and I got my 3 technique going to the B, or I got a 5 technique that's in the C gap. I got my outside guys. I'm like, it's 1 back, 1 gap. That's what a lot of teams play now. It's not even the 2 gap stuff where you had to like spill, come over the back and come across the top, and then backside cutback player. It's not even that anymore. It's 1 back, 1 gap. As soon as I see run, boom, I'm downhill, taking the double team off. They can't even B block me, and I built the wall. And you can do that through multiple fronts, through slants, not necessarily games. Game's a bad thing when it comes to stopping a run. Well, I got displacement.
They're simple games.
Simple games, yes.
You don't want big loopers and things like that. You save that for 3rd down. But on your 1st and 2nd down, you can run some stuff up there to pinch, to move, and use your athleticism, especially like Eddrick. He's a penetrator. You want to get him going. K-Mac is a physical piece. He's explosive, but he's a physical guy that can hold point. But, especially if you get Bo down in there, Kenyatta, guys on the edge, moving them around, spilling the ball, finding a way to eliminate gaps with chaos. And then, like you said, playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, you want to build that wall. But if you have smaller guys, sometimes, hey, create penetration, get the ball moving, get it bouncing, and you've got very fast and athletic linebackers that can go. And I mean, so we've talked
safeties that feel violently.
Yes.
I mean, obviously we lost Lathan, but we know what Caleb can do.
Caleb's
now it's going to be
one of the best.
Next one.
Well, he's one of the best tacklers in all of college football. I mean, he might be the best tackler. I don't know, Schlegs, if I've seen him miss an open field tackle, which is pretty wild when you think about.
There was one play. It was, I think, in the Oregon game.
Yeah.
I want to say in the Rose Bowl. I mean, it was grass. And he made it. And like, And I would say this, like him and Lathan, but him especially, he has a good, not necessarily nose for the football and dissecting. Like he's a very field type guy. He has great understanding and awareness, but he knows when to go, like when to go fill and when to make a tackle. Like there's a difference. Like people, like I make fun of myself when I had Vince Young dead to rights and just got brushed off and never got.
That's what happened. Schlegs went to tackle Vince Young, and this is what he did. And then came back in frame. And Schlegs went, where'd he go? Where'd who go? Just flew right by him. 2 ships in the night.
Caleb's good, man. And that's why I say, guys, when people say concern or whatever, I'm really not. Because there is levels to this game, Bob. And what Ryan has assembled, you have guys on staff, a lot of tenure in college football. But you also have guys on the staff that have a lot of tenure in NFL football, not only as players, but as coaches. And that means a lot, not necessarily just from the game planning. It's funny, I had a conversation with somebody that's a very prominent D coordinator at a big-time school, okay? And we were just talking ball, which is great. I love it. And he's like, well, this is how we did in the league. And I was like, yeah, because we had an 11-hour rule. We were talking about efficiencies. There's just a lot of added value to what the league brings to college football.
Yeah.
And from a variety of different manners. And I think that gelling together and what Ryan has produced as a staff will eliminate a lot of these things, man. And like you said, Bob, earlier, Matty P is very collaborative, and he's going to lean on his coaches like, who are the best guys? He's going to evaluate it himself, and he's going to be like, okay, in the framework of what we do, how do I put the best 11 on for these situations? And that's the beauty of Matt Patricia's defense, much like what we played back in the day. Regardless if we were in nickel or base, the principles were the same. And it was very, very easy to play fast.
Yep. Similar terminology, similar words. Oh, here it is. Is this the full play? Tell me you have more than just a still.
That's not the – first off, great move on 62, okay? Great move on 62. Bad thing is I should have looked at his calves and how athletic he was. I mean, the guy's built like a freaking antelope, all right? And the tackle, the sack that could have been. The sack that could have been. Man.
Texas on Texas crime right there, Schlegs. It would have been Highland Park. Where did he go? He's from Houston, right? Vince is a Houston guy. Yeah. Dallas v. Houston right there. Well, Houston got the better end of that one.
Houston got the better end of that one.
That's all right.
I remember one play too, Bob, where he got outside the pocket. And this is what's going to be interesting in the Texas game because Arch Manning can run.
He can run.
Yeah. And so is a 3-4 more athletic dudes, right, to be able to cover that. Is that more meaningful in this type of game? Are you going to see more of that? And some people say it's concerning. I think it's exciting because I'm excited to see what our coaching staff and our players.
Oh yeah, dude, you don't get nervous. Like it's all about how you frame it in your mind. Chop wood and carry water. So like if you finished it, like you got to use your energy in the positive sense for you. Don't be nervous about it. Don't be, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on the sweater already. No, like, dude, you've got to embrace it. Okay, embrace it, Hawken. Turn that upside down.
Well, that's right. Somebody in the chat's like, is his hat upside down? No, that's like the thing now, right? Like, it's what all the cool kids are doing. They gave me this hat. I will say this. I put a thing on my Instagram. I don't even know what my handle is or whatever, but it's about this app. After the show, I'm going to Ohio State to show them because they're going to get 4 of them. But it's something that Bob's in this with me. And I've had a vision of being able to measure people's strike force and look at asymmetries from an upper body perspective, along with return to play and how we work on hand. Like I always say this, right? You got to train violent to play violent. The more violence I can get with intent, like in reps, the better. I like to measure it. Kids love competition. Put it together. Hawken, difference, magic, right? So it's been cool.
By the way, Vince Young went to Madison High School in H-Town, the H-Town Hustler. All right, we're long for a break here. I want to tell you guys about this. Parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional athletes and designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. Not sure how much there is to protect with Schlegs. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, custom fit to your own grill. They 3D print that bad boy in there, which means more protection, better performance, max cover, and clear communication, so you can focus on the game, not on your gear. Do not take chances with your safety. Go to exportguards.com/Bobby and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. Be back with more Bobby Carpenter Show after this.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
Oh, man, there's some unbelievable things. The internet's a wild place, Schlegs. Absolutely wild with all the stuff out there and everything going on. Things you can find.
On the old Google machine, on the internet?
On the Twitter machine. We go about.
Dude, I remember, it was funny. I saw a deal on there. And of course, like all the ones that are provocative, that really help me and my thing. It's like, hey, 82% of men say, affection by their significant other, right, helps reduce stress. And
I tell my wife that all the time.
I'm like, hey. She's like, yeah, I got it. You sent it to me like 5 times. I'm like, oh, okay. But it keeps popping up on my feed, I guess. I don't know. But then I saw one where it's like, if you remember when you used to call out cars when you were playing in the street, you had a hell of a childhood, like stuff like that, and before the injury, like there was nothing to do. Kids are on phones, they're outside playing all the time. You're getting muddy, you're working, you work. Like, it's like, oh man, I do think kids do too much skill work and do too many sports at the same time. But when I'm talking about, he has X, Y, and Z, I'm like, dude, like I worked from 6 to noon, 8, went to Metroflex from noon to, from 1 to, 2:30, got super bumpy, then went and ran hills while I was listening to the Rocky soundtrack. And then I went and sloth, and just drank Ensure drinks. Yeah, look at that Golden Shepherd. Look at that. Nothing says
like Dr. Evil
class like a porcelain, because that's what your family has.
Yeah, my parents are German Shepherd dog lovers, and so that's their dog of choice. So why wouldn't my parents have a porcelain German Shepherd just sitting in their formal living room? By the way, where I'm doing the show right now, Schleich, just a little peek behind the curtain. I'm at my mom and dad's house. My brother Nathan is in town. He's up in Grand Rapids, so I get a chance to see my niece and nephew and my sister-in-law and him, which I don't get to see nearly as much as I used to. But where I'm sitting now, Schleich, is the scene of where most of all of my recruiting visits would take place. This is my parents' formal living room, as you can tell by the painting and I don't even know what those are. Those candle lamps, as if it's like 1885 on the wall.
Ambiance.
Yeah. Because instead of using light legs, my parents would walk around and light the candles on the wall like it's some sort of seance in here. We're going to do some sort of demon conjuring or something like that.
Let them be big. Yeah. Like you guys would go in there and have like family things, just like they'd smoke it, like throw incense on
right.
you.
But here's the thing. In this room, the only time I was allowed in here growing up was to A, practice the piano, because this is where the piano lives, and B, when we had coaches come over, because it was right off the hall. We like clean up the kitchen and stuff, and you'll get the house ready as best you could. But we'd come in here because they already knew it was like, you weren't allowed in here. You didn't even need to dust because the doors were always shut. You weren't allowed to come in. Never allowed to sit on the furniture, never allowed to do anything. And so it's been the same way, same design, same stuff, like since 1992. So,
That's
30. Yeah, it's something. So yeah, this is where I'm doing the show. It's
coming back into style, by the way. Like that gold stuff right there, like that's the hot thing right now.
Of course it is. So yeah,
it's cyclical, man.
Yeah. So this is what we got going. So it's doing it in here. I never thought I would be in here doing a show with you. I usually do it in the basement because it's got the more of a saloon feel with my dad, and he's got the wood back, the wood paneling on the walls, and you're like hanging out with John Wayne. It's maybe gonna get John Wayne like in the corner beside me hanging out. with the from the old Coors Light commercial, the Pick It Up Pilgrim from back then. But yeah, doing it in here. So just wanted to give everybody a little like peek behind the curtain to see what that was all about. As we were talking a little bit about D-line earlier, we'll throw this up here. The coaches that are the best are the ones that make the adjustments. And I was thinking about that, and like this is what's beautiful about Matt Patricia is he takes what he has, and this defensive line is one of the things it's going to be the interesting question of how you solve it. And the best coaches are the ones that make the adjustments. Buddy Morris, look at Buddy, sweet guns, cut off, ready to go. But that's what Matt Patricia was doing all spring, is learning what his players did well, installing a defense. But then part and parcel with that is, you're trying to adjust. Okay, we do this pretty well. We do that not as well. We have this personnel, that personnel. And most of it is regard to the front. Because in the back end, you've got a lot of corners that are good. You've got Malik Hartford and Jalen. Oh my gosh, what the heck is his last name? Jalen McClain. My daughter's name. I always want to say Jalen Brown because the Boston player, Celtics player. But Jalen Brown. Then you've got Caleb Downs. Those are your kind of three safety options. Then at nickel, they have Lorenzo Styles. Sonny's brother was in there primarily taken, and he backed up Jordan Hancock a lot of the season.
Yep.
And then they were training Jermaine Matthews in there as well. Maybe you could do some three safety looks. They've got Bryce West that they've thrown in there. Tim Walton does a good job of rotating a lot of guys inside so they can learn it. So you have options, and it helps develop the players as well to be able to play all the corner spots. But the back end I think is okay. The linebackers, you've got three guys you feel really good about, and we'll break down the other position groups as we go. But that D line is the one that they're just a little light inside right now. So how do you maybe lean into those other positions and maybe take some heat off of that, some stress off of that, so that you're not asking quite as much out of so few guys? And so, like one of the things you talked about, I could see maybe some 3-3 stuff against Texas, where you have three down and maybe you have some combination of Arvell, Sonny, and Peyton Pierce all in there together at points. Maybe sometimes you have CJ Hicks out there as one of the outside guys, and be an edge rush. There's just a lot of different options that you're going to be able to do. And so the best coaches are the ones that are looking through this, Schlegs, and trying to figure out exactly how to solve those problems. And it was fun during the spring. They had fun during the spring of trying to watch them solve that stuff and figure it out. So it was pretty cool, awesome to see. And we'll see what happens moving forward with that and how they're able to evolve as the season goes along. Game day for Ohio State just got a whole lot more interesting. There's game day, ESPN game day. There is big noon kick. And there's some news across that may or may not make Buckeye fans very happy. We'll talk about that here next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And game day just got a lot more interesting, Schlegs, for the Ohio State fan. So, college game day, Kirk Herbstreit. Most Buckeye fans like him, I think, for the most part. I mean, Kirk does a good job, tries to stay, obviously, unbiased and stay above the fray. He is a Buckeye, though. Out there they added, Lee Corso. This will be his final one. His final college game day is going to be at Ohio State, which is awesome for the Texas game. You've got Pat McAfee, who's doing a great job. Nick Saban, who is entertaining. And Pat brings a lot out of him. And then you got Desmond Howard, which a lot of people don't enjoy Desmond. He's a Michigan guy, and Schlegs, he's an unrelenting Michigan homer. He tries to pretend to be biased, but then talks about openly cheering. Yeah, cheering for Michigan. That's the thing. Just own it, man. Hey, I'm taking Michigan because I like Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan. Don't give me this unbiased stuff. And there are times where you can be that. And listen, they won a national title. But Big Noon just hired Dave Portnoy. Now, Dave Portnoy, also a Michigan guy. and Schlegel, we want to throw that up there, Pat. Like, what is the Buckeye fan to do? Now, I particularly don't dislike Portnoy. I think Big Noon now is trying to add that Pat McAfee element by doing this to bring in that a little bit of that different culture, that excitement, that juice from the digital realm. But it's if you don't like Portnoy now, I don't know what exactly you're going to do.
Well, I'm typing in the chat. Thanks, Chris. But here's the Pat is just more entertaining, and you got to be originally you know, like you don't have to follow that mix. What is the balance? You know, they kind of followed it up with Saban because Big Noon had Urban, and I think Saban does a hell of a job.
Really good.
Articulating his points in a different manner than Urban does. This one is a little bit weird because I think that Pat is more engaging and fun, whereas Dave might be more obviously biased in this regard of the rivalry, but I don't know. He's just different. So, you know, the unfortunate thing in all of this is that we play so many damn noon games is that they're there all the time. And and that's what that thing is saying. It's, hey man, big games, Big Noon's going to be there, game days are going to be there. But we already know that Big Noon's going to always be there because they got the Big Ten contract, and you get stuck with that probably, you know, at least 5 to 6 times a year. And they're playing at noon because of that TV deal, and that's what they're picking. So, you know, but I always say this. I try to look for the good points.
Oh, the Nuggets. You look for the Nuggets.
I like the Nuggets. I mean, hey, listen, when you have played ball like Bob and I have, and you've coached ball, there are a lot of things that are really, matter of fact, like it was, oh my goodness, dadgummit, man. Cordell and anyways, there's a couple of us, and they're former offensive linemen. We were all talking. Tegra was there. We were talking, and we were discussing about, you know, Coach Fry and like the great job that he did. And with younger guys, similar to what we've been talking about, Matt Patricia, you know, so much easier to run gap as opposed to zone. And we had a lot of success, man. Our running game, honestly, in my opinion, like completely changed when we said this is what we're going to do, try to stop it. And I'm like, that also was what happened. Michigan in 23, like their offense line won the, the Jim? What's that called? I know the name of it. Not Jim Marshall. I'm blanking out. This Hawking upside down hat's messing with my brain.
You killed me. If you just would have said
Joe Moore Award. Joe Moore Award.
Good job.
So, but like what they came off the ball, and like it's for an offensive line that are beefy dudes. And again, you guys also got to remember, like Ben Herbert, who is the head strength coach there, is a friend of mine, right? And I respect the hell out of Ben. He's in San Diego right now. And I love the way that he trains his dudes and the mentality in which he trains them. He just happened to be a rival in regards to Ohio State, Michigan. But like I appreciate dudes that come off the ball and play violently. Yeah. And they knew what they do and they came off. And I'm like, all right, man, like what are we gonna do to stop it? Like, let's freaking go. And so I say all that to say this is I look for different things than just the colors and colors on the uniform when in terms of discussing about athletes and what they do. But this regard, when it comes to something that you want to watch, if it wasn't for the other ones on game day, I would not watch it because I really do not care for his takes in Desmond. And this big new one, I am not going to watch. So the good thing for me is I like to hunt in the morning before the games happen so I can get in there when the games happen. And so starting at the end of September in the great state of Ohio, I'll be in a tree stand, not watching any of them now, getting ready for a noon kickoff.
Oh, there we go. I like that. In the tree stand, getting ready to rock. Eddrick got back to me. They had some pop-up community service that he had to take place in Schlegel, so people helping
fair
people
enough, guys.
pay it forward. We're working on a day next week, so I'm trying to figure out.
These are great questions people have in here.
No, there's a lot of great stuff in there.
I got to highlight these.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out with Mick when they're going to be going early so we can coordinate this because Eddrick's a good dude. I know he wants to come on. I want to.
And you're right. Hey. Espadas, escapas.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Hold up. We're going to get to that. Hold up. We're going to get to that tailgate talk. I already saw it come through. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that here in tailgate talk. First, I want to tell you about our friend Schlegs over at Backer, the premium sports brand for premium sports fans, the Buckeye fans. It's the gear that you'll want. I told you Wednesday I was out at a swim meet, popped out the raincoat. The thing is amazing. They got the windbreakers. They've got the cold gear. They've got hats, all the doodads and efficient little trinkets and all the different features that you want. Heck, you can take the windbreaker, flip it inside out, fold it into a pocket that's tucked inside of there, and it's got a little carabiner, so you just slap that thing right on your belt loop and walk around with it, so you don't have to wrap it around your waist. All kinds of great stuff there. By the way, a portion of the proceeds goes back to the Ohio State Buckeyes NIL, so you got that going for you as well. So Backer, BCKR.com. That's BCKR.com. Use promo code all caps BOBBY at checkout for free expedited shipping. Make sure you check them out. That is Backer Sports. All right, coming up next, we've got our headlines here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, now our headlines brought to you by our friend Schlegs over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing, if you're looking to scale your business. Lake Spur, well, they're the team that is trusted within the marketing agency realm. They've got a broad range of experiences. Regardless of industry, they can help you out. The Lake Spur team prides themselves on building partnerships. They're confident they'll be able to deliver the results, but more importantly, it's about the relationships with clients. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. Visit them at lakespurmarketing.com today. All right, Schlegs, you know what's interesting? I was going to go to some of the nuggets in there, but I was doing my show with XM earlier, and we were talking about some SEC media days. They wrapped up yesterday with everything that's going on. And, Tony Petitti was pushing that 4-4-2-2-1-1 or 1-3 model, I guess. Notre Dame is basically going to get in top 16. So it's almost one for Notre Dame, one for the group of 5 highest ranked team, and then 2 more at-large spots. And Eli Drinkowitz, who's the head coach for Missouri, he came out and supported that. He liked it. He goes, how about this? How about they don't even play a conference championship game? How about, and this is honestly intriguing to me, because he goes, number one, it takes the onus off of the committee. If you finish top 4 in your conference, you're getting in. There's 2 at-larges. People are going to argue about that. It'll be a crazy show, whatever. But it takes the onus off of the committee to a certain degree. If you finish top 4 in your conference, you're getting in. How about this? He goes, instead of playing 1-2 and then 3-6 and 5-4-5 to see you get those spots, he goes, why don't you just go 1-8 in the Big Ten and SEC, and then that's your conference championship Saturday? I said, you know what? Then if you're the first team coming in there or second team, like you're playing the 7th or 8th team. But what it does is, if you have a deep conference like Missouri, he goes, that gives us, he's like, if we can't get in the top 8, then we don't deserve to get there anyway. So the top team plays at home, or maybe you could have, one of them's neutral. I don't know. But you have the ways there's advantage for the teams being in the top 4, and basically half of your conference has the chance to get in. So now basically you almost have play-in games. So if you lose, like, you don't have really much of an argument as to why you should have gotten in. And I go, you know what? I don't hate that. I don't hate it at all. And then it also incentivizes you to keep those non-conference games, as we watched Indiana and pull their conference championship game with Virginia, or play their non-con game with Virginia, which I hate, because I'm like, dude, that's at least a Power 5 school. Like, what are we doing? Buckeyes.
Yeah, Buckeyes, man. So you're telling me that he wanted 1-8 Big Ten, 1-8 SEC play?
Well, no, you play internally in your conference, and then your top 4 teams get in. So 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7.
Oh, instead of the conference championship game, just
and then your top 4 get in. Then you can't complain. Like, then there's no complaining. Like, you got a shot. If you're in the top 8 in your conference, and if you can't
here's the other easy solution: play 9 conference games.
Well, in the SEC, hold up. they said as part of that, they would play 9 conference games.
And you wouldn't even, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't even have to go to that because I think it would work itself out from head-to-head competition in those things.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, you lost earlier, but if you can get to the top 8 in your position by the final week of the season, everybody's playing 9 conference games. Then you know what? Like,
what happens if one loses to 8 on some chance, right?
Well, then you know what? Maybe that one team could be one of the 2 at-large teams that gets in, assuming that that worked out. But that's part of the risk.
But it's also just one more other game. Like, they're not going to do that in the Big 12. Like, they got to get they're not going to do, like, it would have to be everybody that kind of has that. Yep. And obviously there's levels. Like, you get 4 teams that get to go in SEC. Here you go, or whatever.
That's what the money's for. You know? They put it on the nightstand. They put it on the nightstand for you. So
I just like to keep. I don't hate it. I'm not going to say that I hate it. I like competitive excellence. The biggest thing to me is
it's more wear and tear.
Play a 10-game schedule.
Well, then honestly, I don't think people would always be opposed to that, because here's the thing: you're adding better inventory, more of it, and so really, like, is there almost an advantage then if you're the 3rd place team not making your conference championship and then you just get in? But what this does is any coach and athlete, and you know this, would rather have your fate decided on the field, and at least then you have that opportunity. If you lost and you were the 3rd place team in your conference and you lost to the 6, okay, well, win the game. And you know what? Maybe that's a home game for you. Get to pick up a home game, put a little extra cash in your pocket. The TV networks would love it because those are going to be highly competitive, highly watched games. It would be an absolute breakneck Saturday right there early in December, right there. And yeah, if the ACC and Big 12 did it, where they played 1 played 4 and 2 played 3, and then everybody's got that, so everyone's playing the same number of games. You all play 9 conference games. Like, okay, there's less subjectivity to that than there was before, which is what I'm a big fan of. Eliminate the gray, Schlegs. We don't like that at all.
I don't like it.
What we do like is Tailgate Talk, where we answer your questions and comments. There's a good one. A couple of them here coming up next. All right, welcome into our Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Real Truck, and we're going to get to this one right now. We were talking about McAfee and Portnoy, and this was from Esperadas.
Exactly, you pronounce it.
Cabadeas.
Bien.
Bien. It said this, but McAfee at least played. Portnoy didn't play, didn't coach, isn't an analyst. He'd bring 0 to anything. Just a fan take. That's it. Like adding my accountant to my doctor's appointment for their opinion. I thought that's really well written and it's really well crafted, because it's a fairly valid point. Because I guess I give Portnoy too much credit for knowing football. Like, McAfee played ball. Like, you could say, oh, he's a punter. But, dude, you're around it. He's in it. He knows guys. He's seen it. He was on the sidelines. He has a true appreciation. He may come off as like a little wrestling-esque, fanboy-esque, bro-esque. That's just who he is. But he also was an NFL player that was a Pro Bowler for multiple years, played at West Virginia, like, has all those ties. So I thought that was a good one. So, like, that was pretty good.
Really good. And matter of fact, I just saw Cam Johnson. If you guys know Cam, punter at Ohio State, played for Pittsburgh last year, like opening punt of the season, like guy breaks his leg. He's doing his rehab. He looked really good. Like he's cutting and stuff, getting ready to go to camp. He knows ball and he's like physically fit. Like Cam is a big jacked up Australian dude. And that was Pat. Like Pat would at least stump you. You know what I mean? He's a West Virginia guy. I mean, he'll hit you. And it's just, it comes off a little better because it's been validated. Play in the NFL, like you're in all the meetings. Yes, they get to have their own workout time, and yes, they go on their own field and kick to each other, and yes, they wear tiny face masks, but they're around it. Okay, they're around it, and he's entertaining, which I don't know the takes that Dave's going to have, but hey, guess what? We'll see.
Yeah, I get it. One other one, Schlegs, that I want to get to as well. Pretty good little nugget, and this one's pretty. Where is this? From Troy V. what the world needs now is more Alabama Mercer games, said nobody ever. Rick Neweyes, when I was on with him and XM this morning, brought this up. He said, like the last 2 years, Ohio State and the SEC, they've each played 13 or 14 FCS schools. They were undefeated over 2 years. And then in that same 2-year period, they each played around 30 some odd group of 5 teams. And they both had lost 2 games. Like Vanderbilt had lost both of them, I think. Vanderbilt lost one. Maybe
the team that's taken over Tennessee.
Hold on. Vanderbilt lost one. I think maybe Ole Miss or maybe Mississippi State lost the other. And then Purdue had lost them both in the Big Ten. He goes, these games they're not competitive largely. Some of them are close, but a lot of them are not. Or no, it's Auburn. Auburn had actually lost to, I think, New Mexico State. But he goes, these teams aren't really losing. So you want games out there that are going to be good in the non-conference. And if you doing this 1-by-8 scheduling metric, you get better non-conference games. So you know what? If Ohio State loses to Texas or Texas loses to Ohio State, you can still get the number 1 seed in your conference, and that's not going to hurt you, and that's going to get you in. You could still get a 3 or 4 seed, and you're still going to get in. And there's less subjectivity. And for Ohio State, you don't have to worry about that as much, but hopefully it'll eliminate some of those other games. And I think there is still a place for Ohio State to play Ohio University. But like to Rick's point in saying that, Schlegs, over the last 2 years, one of the best players at Ohio University now plays at Ohio State. Like Will Kazmarek is a hell of a tight end. He spent his first 3 years at Ohio University, and now he's here. Like the group of 5 teams just don't have the same level of talent they used to because it all gets poached. It all moves up. So the games aren't nearly as competitive. All right, coming up, Schlegs, we've got our dude of the week. My dude of the week's going to be a baseball guy. Ooh. And he had some interesting thoughts on youth sports and everything else out there. And what's going on with them. So stay locked in here as we wrap up the show with our Dude of the Week. All right, it's Friday, so that means it's Dude of the Week. Thanks for tuning in here to the Bobby Carpenter Show. We had some great guests this week. We'll have some more next week as we cruise along. Maybe we'll try to get your guy, Ty Bowen on Schlegs, get Eddrick Houston, see if we can get a couple other players on here. We've got some ideas in mind of guys I think have some interesting stories and can provide some insight and a little look behind the curtain. We're going to save the Capital Cup, Pat, for next week. I wanted to hit it, but I wanted to hit this because this is my Dude of the Week. The last player to win, the last baseball pitcher to have 300 wins, Schlegs, do you know who it is? 2009.
Maddox?
No, he was done before. He had it before that. Randy Johnson was the last one to hit 300.
I thought Randy was younger.
He'll probably be the last
guy with that mullet.
Yeah, he'll probably be the last guy to ever do it too. What's his name up in Detroit is close, but he's getting too old. And I don't think he's going to be able. Verlander. I don't think he's been hurt too much. He could have done it, but he's been hurt too much the last 5 years. The second to last guy to do it was Tom Glavine, the teammate of Greg Maddux. And throw that up there, Pat. We slide over the audio. Biggest problem with youth sports. Go right ahead, sir.
With travel sports today is they feed on the parents' emotions for the kid. What parent does not want to do everything they can possibly do for their kid? If you're being told that your son or daughter not playing a sport year round is going to get passed by Johnny down the street who is, most parents don't know any better to fight back on that. They're thinking, the first thing in their mind is, oh my God, I can't do that to my kid. We have to keep going. I don't want him falling behind. And I hate that. The biggest problem with travel sports today is
it's spot on. And it's a great job out of Tom Glavine right there and understanding that, because a lot of those guys didn't do that. I mean, I didn't play travel sports year round. You didn't either, Schlegs. You play a lot of different sports, do a lot of different things, work really hard, grind by yourself, grind at your house, and get better and work in the darkness. And then you got it. Wrap it up with your
number one thing you got to do, and they forget this, is like you have to train.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't go play skill all the time. Like, you got to train. Like, your body has to grow. It has to develop. It has to develop tissue density and resiliency to be able to play. Plus, you learn things not only about yourself, but how to be a better teammate. You learn other skill sets from one sport to the other. But that doesn't mean you need to continue to play that sport all the time. When it's football season, it's football season.
Absolutely.
When it's wrestling season, it's wrestling season.
There you go. Wrestle when it's time to wrestle, Schlegs. That's it for this week. We'll get you caught up here again next week on the Bobby Carpenter Show.